What makes single-player games so special? I feel as if I've gone down a very similar pipeline to many people in their gaming journey. The multiplayer to single-player game pipeline. You start off only playing your Call of Duties, FIFAs, 2Ks, Fortnites, Apex, but eventually those get boring or repetitive and you start looking for a new game to play. And there they are, the single players just waiting patiently to be played. Why? Why does this happen to so many people? What attracts them to make that switch in genres, and what causes them to stay and continue to play them? Before we really get into things, if you guys enjoyed this video, it would mean a lot if you could like, comment, and subscribe. We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. Contrary to its multiplayer counterpart, single-player games hold a unique ability to capture the player's attention, through world building, storytelling, impressive art style, great combat system, and interesting characters. There's such a wide range of possibilities that the single-player games can go down. These type of games have existed since all the way back in the 1970s with titles like Speed Race and Space Invaders, and they have evolved drastically since then and continue to evolve today. I've grown so fond of single players that I rarely even touch multiplayers now, which if you told me that about a decade ago, I would never believe you. From Minecraft servers, co-op Lego games, NBA 2K, FIFA, Fortnite, Apex, Rocket League, these were the multiplayers I was obsessed with throughout the years. Everything I did that was gaming related was with other people. And now the multiplayer game I really only ever play is playing Minecraft with some friends. Now the reason that I think this is the case is single player games have the capability of doing something that most multiplayers can't. Keeping it fresh and bringing fulfillment. Firstly, there are hundreds, probably thousands of single player games out there with a completely unique concept from the last. Each new game I play, I am faced with a brand new experience not knowing what is going to come next. There's just something special about downloading a brand new game and playing it for the first time and experiencing this world that was crafted. With multiplayers, at every point in time, you're kind of limited with the options at your disposal of what to play. You can't just go and load up OG Fortnite. Well, I guess you actually can. Maybe that wasn't the best example. With single player games though, you can genuinely play any game from any time period. I can go from playing a game that came out in the late 90s, then the next one being a game that was released in 2024. These titles are timeless, and it's not like they die off to where they're not really playable. Even if a single player game has died off, you can still load that up and experience one of the greatest games ever. There's not a timetable to experience these titles. Unfortunately, at my age, I wasn't really able to experience the early Call of Duties and live through those and have forever missed that chance to experience those multiplayers. But those campaigns I've played through and have adored. That's one of the beauties of single players. Sure, some games might age badly or not live up to modern standards as well, but most of my favorite games ever I have played years after they were released, even decades. It's in the same breath as TV shows or movies. These things, once they are crafted, have the capability of lasting generations because of their world or their storytelling that resonates through multiple generations of people. Single player games are truly timeless and one of the aspects that make them so special. And these games also bring fulfillment. I don't know if it's just me, but with multiplayers, a lot of the time once I get off, I feel like I wasted my time. Especially when it's a bad day and I'm losing a lot. And look, I will never discredit the memories I've made with my friends throughout these games. I will remember them forever. But every multiplayer, I feel like I stop playing with a bitter taste in my mouth, as by the time I stop playing it, I no longer enjoy it. But single players, sometimes beating it is the best part. There is such fulfillment in completing these stories that multiplayers just can't replicate. I've mentioned this before, but the wide range of genres that single player games have is insane. We have titles that range from RPGs, open world action games, linear story driven titles, roguelikes, 3D platformers, walking sims, choice driven games, Metroidvanias, and the list doesn't end there. There is something for every single person out there. Somewhere in this vast world of gaming, you will find something that clicks for you. And that is the beauty of single players. That's what makes it so special. There is something for everyone, and these games connect to people on a different level compared to multiplayers. Don't get me wrong, I will forever hold a deep nostalgia and love for the prime Minecraft days in the early 2010s, or prime Fortnite, prime Apex, and back when I actually enjoyed FIFA and it wasn't the worst game ever crafted. Those are special memories and many of the reasons why I love gaming now. But single players have affected me on a deeper level. I actually come away from beating these games feeling like a different person. I'm experiencing something more than just fun times with friends. Single player games are able to craft narratives, worlds, characters that make you escape from reality and immerse you into this whole new experience. You lose track of time and end up spending 5+ hours one night in this world that you never knew existed and you feel as if you're living in it. Or you get so attached to a group of characters and feel as if you're going on this journey with them. It is such an underrated aspect when people talk about video games. From an outside perspective, most people just see video games from the multiplayer lens. They don't realize how much more there is to it. And I'm not even trying to disrespect multiplayer games, they are still enjoyable and I will always love them. But some of the stories or worlds that I've experienced through these single players are life-changing. They stick with you for years and are so beautifully crafted. People don't give credit for these narratives. They're so special. You spend so many hours with these characters or in these worlds. It's something I've always struggled with in movies. How short they are. It's hard for me to actually grow attached to it. But for video games, a short one is like 5 hours, which is double the length of a movie. Yes, of course, gameplay heavily increases it, but still, that is time spent in the game. It's difficult to not grow attached and genuinely feel part of the world that you are in. Games like Cyberpunk, Bioshock, Elden Ring, Red Dead 2, Baldur's Gate 3, these are universes that you get lost in or just amazed by the detail of it. The scope, the lore, there's such depth in all these aspects. And narratively, what can there really be said? So many of my favorite stories ever come from video games. There is such emotional depth and rich storytelling at hand. From heart-wrenching dynamics of a father and daughter, redemptions of a god or a gang member, dealing with your own morality, being an assassin in an ancient time period, going into an abandoned underwater city, being a treasure hunter going against supernatural beings. These are endless stories being told and they will never stop. They will continue to impact people and change the way they view themselves, the world, or any other aspect. Video games can be deep, they can be heart-wrenching, they can ask serious questions, they can challenge you as a person, they can heal you, they can do so much more than people think. The amount of stories that I've heard of people's lives genuinely improving once being certain games is insane. These are narratives that change people in real life. They are not bound to a 32-inch monitor and a console. They are narratives that impact the lives of people and have impacted my own life as well. And these narratives explore so many deep themes. And they execute them so well that you learn a lot from playing these stories. Single-player games mean a lot to so many people and I want others to know that. Just the same way that a movie, a book, a TV show can heavily impact you, the same exact feeling can be done in video games. They aren't a waste of time, they aren't something just designed for kids, you don't have to grow up and stop playing them. Single players are generational, they aren't only for a specific age group. Any point in your life you can be affected by these worlds or stories. I do believe if done correctly, video games have the ability to have the best storytelling in media. And the reason why is the immersion aspect. You are playing this game. Even if you're playing as someone like Kratos, Arthur Morgan, you might not feel like you are them, but you play as them, you feel everything they do and experience life through their eyes. That's what single player games are able to do. You're the one. You're the person who's walking through this bustling city with everyone around you doing something. Quests galore, characters to meet, places to go, the possibilities are endless. You get pulled into these worlds where you suddenly care about the characters and what's happening to them. You want what's best for them, question the decisions that they make, celebrate when they live, cry when they die. That's what these games do to you. They make you care about some fictional story that isn't even real. But you can't help yourself but be immersed. And even with games that don't really have that deep of a story or some not really having one at all, they're still able to capture the player's attention. If they can nail an open world experience, they can have you hooked for 100 hours and leave you empty once finishing it because you have to leave this world that you became so familiar with. By the end, you know every town and city, you know where your favorite shops are, where to get the best deals, the best place to farm XP and level up, you know where your home is. These universes become second nature to you and you can't help it. How can you? You've been there for the past 2 to 3 months over the course of 100 hours. There's no way you don't feel connected to the world and characters at hand. You've been there too long and that's what I love about it. You have the ability to really take your time and immerse yourself into these worlds and consume every piece of it. And there are games themselves where you yourself are the protagonist and you don't play as someone else. You are the one in the world and get to make the choices and the decisions. That is just another layer of immersion that can occur in certain titles. And outside of the more narrative or world building aspects that single player games can have, there's a whole other side focus around the gameplay. Your Souls games, your Metroidvanias, your 3D platformers, these are single player experiences that praise themselves over their gameplay, their challenging aspects, and thought-provoking puzzles. It is a whole other beast and just proves my point even more that there is such a wide range of genres for single players. I myself low-key still have to get into Souls games, but so many people, their favorite memories in gaming is beating this certain boss that they were stuck on for days. Or finally perfecting this boss's moveset and they just entered this flow state against them. No story was needed, no world building, just a good old boss fight can leave that much of an impression on someone. Single players are not limited to one style. They are so flexible and are able to please so many different people and their desires in a game. One group of people can adore a game and then another group hates it and vice versa. That is the beauty of single player games. They in my mind are a form of art and a special one at that. They are pieces of art that are able to evoke emotion from a player, bring out a side of them that nothing else can, make them think in a new way they've never thought before, grow in patience against difficult enemies, gain a new outlook on life. Single player games are so much more than people realize. And I want to show the world that they are more than just a game. You know when people cry watching a sport or get really hype and people say, calm down, it's just a sport, and then that person gets mad? It's the same thing here. When people say it's just a video game, it's annoying because to a lot of us, it's not. It's so much more than that. These are worlds and stories that deeply connect to us and have affected us on a positive light, and we want to share those experiences with the world. Single player games mean so much to me and many others. These are worlds, stories, and characters that have connected to us on a deeper level. These are games that we will take with us for the rest of our lives. And that to me is what makes single player games so special.